So we are starting with the Zombie Ogre from Nolzir's Marvellous Minis, which we are starting with a base coat of Death Wild Forest, and we're just going to, lightly dry brush over the entire body, just to sort of like start getting the, bring out the details of its sickly flesh. Obviously we don't want to paint inside all of these holes where the flesh is ripped and things. Don't really need to cover the rest of its outfit or anything, so we're just going to dry brush over the entire model where all its flesh is before we move on to the next thing, which will be a wash of Matarian Shade. I was thinking about doing, something else, but I think for the flesh, I was thinking about doing Egg Earth Shade, but Matarian Grime is a much better choice. It's really going to bring out the sickliness of the mini. Of course, as I said in my previous video, we are starting to run out of our D&D minis, so we're going to move. We'll move on to Warhammer, because I have, like every painter ever, a huge backlog. So we just need to lightly cover over the mini. And get what we need. So, the ogre is all dry, ready to go. Now I was going to paint this, but what I want to do is actually I want to paint these and get their colours showing up as first. So what we're going to do is move on to some Corax White. Now Corax White is incredibly thick paint, so you need to really spread it out on your palette and get it to thin down, and then we're just going to just lightly brush the ropes, because then when we use Mortarian Grime on the entire model, what we'll do is we'll cover this as well, and then we can highlight this. A bit will show, a bit of dirt and grime on the whole thing, because of course, it's not gonna, being an undead creature, it's not gonna have perfect colouring. So that's the start of it. Obviously it's very bright and very bright and shiny at the minute. Obviously we want to be as careful as we can to avoid painting the over the green as well, because of course Corax White is one of the worst. Once it's on a model, you just have to paint over it, you can't just wash it off. So there's a sample of what we're attempting to do. Next I will move on to these and do these wraps around their feet as well, like so, and then we will Matarian Grime everything. Right, so it's time for a bit of grime. As you can see, it's just giving the dirt colour that we want. Once upon a time, we would, you know, before before Mataran Grind came out, we would have just mixed Agrex, Earth Shade, and Athenian Camo Shade. But this pretty much does the same thing for what you require. We're just looking to cover the entire model and the all of the flesh and all of the wraps that we've done already. Then once all of this dries, we can move on to our next colour. Just want to get nice level. Don't worry about being too generous. It'll all dry up everywhere where we need it to anyway. So, there we have it. There's our Zombie Ogre, all covered and ready for his next coat. And once he dries, we'll move on and give him some Elysian green. So that's what's coming up next. So, I'll see you in a minute. So for the dirty looking bands, what I've done is done some Steel Legion drab, and we've done the Elysian the Elysian green on the flesh. Next, what we've got is some Ogre and Camo for highlights, but we're going to work on all of these all of these flesh bits first, which we're going to start with some Screamer Pink. Because the Ogre and Camo is just going to be a highlight, we want to start working on the Screamer Pink first. So we're just going to put a little bit of Screamer Pink on our brush. And just very gently get on the inside here. I'm going to do this across the whole model. Just being very gentle and got in everything that we need to. Which of course, you know, there's some tiny dots here of holes and things, so just going to take our time. Like so. And then of course for these tiny, tiny dots here, and these tiny holes, we're just going to swap to a much smaller brush. And then just gently dot on the inside, like so, and then again so we're just covering all of this, getting it ready for the next layer. A lot of my colour schemes that I use and everything else I find on the Citadel app, which is you know, on the which is on anywhere where you get your apps and everything, and of course you just need to search a model of what you're looking for. So for this I of course searched for zombies, and they had what I require, which click on the flesh and then it tells you exactly what you're looking for. Also helps what you're trying to buy. I pretty much buy all of my paints from Element Games, which I link into my at the bottom of the description on every one of my videos and painting tutorials, which also has an affiliates code which will give you double points, and that will help, of course, because you are eventually able to sort of like get points codes off and able to sort of like buy products and things. If you're not in the UK, unfortunately, Games Workshop has such a such a strict tight hold, stranglehold on third-party sellers that they're not allowed to ship out to out internationally, unfortunately. Of course, as well, you know, don't be afraid to move your model around. It doesn't have to stay rigid, it doesn't have to stay in a fixed place. You're just trying to get into all of your nooks and crannies, but to move it into where you need it. Well, that's how it's starting to look. Obviously, I've made a few mistakes here, which I will touch up. But that's it. That's how it starts. I'll finish this off, and we will come back to the next section. What I'm going to do is do a second coat over this with some Matari and grime, and I'm also going to do some aggressive earth shade as well to get a bit more dirty. So I've jumped ahead a little bit. The eyes, I've done eyes which are in a mix of white, scar and administratum grey. On the flesh, which I did with Screamer Pink, I've then done a wash of it, which has brought out the colour in a Drucci Violet. Next, what I'm going to do is highlight it with Pink Horror. This necklace around here, what I've done is I've done that in Steel Legion Drab, and I'm going to wash it with some Agrax Earthshade. The fur down, I've also Agrax Earthshaded the wraps here as well. The fur down around all of its body, what I've done is done some Mournfang Brown and some Agrax Earthshade. Sort of like start doing that fur, and next what I'm going to do is start highlighting it with Doomball Brown, and we're just going to sort of like touch all of these fur edges bits and then do some lines down here. The hilt on the weapon there, I've done that in dried bark and then again washed it with Agrax Earthshade. And that's really how I'm going to leave it, just for that. Doesn't need anything more. The hilt here, actually no, I'll talk about that in a second. The necklace here, what I've done is I've done it in Warplock Bronze, which after that I'm going to do it in some Rune Lord Brass as like a more dulled metallic bronze type thing. The fur here, what I've done is I've done it with Skaven Blight Dinge, which is that. I've also done the base as well in Scaling Blight Dinge too, which I'll layer it up. I've done it with Scaling Blight Dinge, and then what I did was I did a wash of Nuln Oil and Agrex Earthshade on that, and then I'm going to highlight it with bits of yellow, not yellow, sorry, white, just sort of like bring out that greyish type colour. We're also, soon I'm going to start highlighting obviously all of this flesh, and we've got the belt to paint, which I'm unsure what colours I'm going to do this belt in yet. Maybe some Baneblade brown, I think. And then the hammer. So the hammer, what I've done is I've done it in lead belcher. Where's my lead belcher? There it is. Lead belcher, which is nice dulled silver. But next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in one of my favourite technical combinations, which is Typhus Corrosion. And Typhus Corrosion is like a really sort of like dull type, sort of like sickly type, one of the technicals. And then Rise of Rust is designed to go with it, and Rise of Rust will come up with this really nice sort of like rusted effect. And so we'll do that on the hilt and on the on the hammer, and just make it look really rusted and old and damaged and stuff. So that's what's going to come up. The base we're going to continue, and I do it pretty much the same way with all of my bases, where what we'll do is Dawnstone and Administration Grey, which will highlight everything. Obviously the highlights here, we're going to go into Screamer Pink, and then we're going to finish off with Kislev, Kislev Flesh to finish it off. The eyes, obviously not going to have any irises. The teeth here, we've done in Xandri Dust and Rockland Flesh Shade, and then of course the next layer is going to be Shabty Bone, where we're just going to sort of just bring up some of that coloration, but then I'm going to right click and flesh shade it again, sort of like give a bit of a discoloration. So I'm going to highlight it and then discolour it again, because obviously, you know, he doesn't have perfect teeth, but he's coming along nicely. You know, he's looking suitably undead and disgusting. So let's see what happens. Right, so as you can see, the Ogre camo is done on highlights. I've also done some highlights of Correx White on the beard. As the Rune Lord Brass done there, so I'm going to highlight that with some Warps and Glow. I've also on the skin done a light coating of Agrex Earthshade, just to dull it, so it doesn't look quite so perfect. Next, on the flesh bits here, on the open wounds, I'll do some Kislev Flesh for highlight. If you look here at the on the dullness of the weapon, that's the Typhus Corrosion, which we're going to do Rise of Rust on on this bit down the bottom here. I've done some Skag Brown here on all of these, which comes up like that sort of colour as a highlight just on the belt down there, and then on this belt here, sorry, on the belt, we're going to do some Baneblade Brown, and just bring all of that up as a highlight. But that's it. It's pretty much done. Hope this has been a nice sort of like inspiration for you for your for your own ogre. It's been nice, quick and easy. We'll just do the last final touches and then see the finishing model. And here it is. There's the Zombie Ogre in its all its final glory, ready to terrorise the board. So, as you can see, the rust has really shown up quite nicely, as his skin tones, everything else. So he's looking quite spectacular. So that's that done. Next, and finally, we move on to Warhammer, and I'm going to start with ghouls, and I have a lot of them to do. So, oops, I didn't mean to stop that. So yeah, I have a lot of ghouls to do. I also have coming up Reduke of the Beast and Gritzer as well, and a very fun. So I was given a Ravenloft box, and I've also got this really cool looking flesh golem, which I'm going to do in multiple different skin tones for some fun, which is going to be fun. But that's what's coming up. I hope this has been a good, enjoyable video, like all of my others. I hope this has helped you. I hope that this creature is going to help you too. And catch you in the next one.